What's up, guys? Real quick here, we have a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3. We had this expanded flat for wave 4, and now it looks like we're getting wave 5. I mean, we're starting to break out a little bit here. I'd like to see it get a little bit higher, maybe 58.5 to 59. Heck, I'd even take 60. So I think it's looking pretty good here. Also, we can start to see, I don't like it because it's a little bit small, but somewhat of an inverse head and shoulders here, right? Two small shoulders. I would actually prefer it to be up here, and this still continued to be the head of a much larger inverse head and shoulder. You can see that shoulder there. Here's your head, right? We're coming up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get up here towards 59.5, heck, even 60, right? So I think from there, right, we got 5-wave move to the upside. Now let's get an ABC, right? Let's develop that right shoulder, and then let's continue to break out, even back test, and then continue higher. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for the price of Bitcoin. If it fails, then we're going to know. And where are we going to know that? Well, first of all, if it fails up here. But if we don't get that ABC, if we start impulsing to the downside, which is not so likely, right? Because we have 5 waves up, but things happen, and if it did, then we don't want this low to be broken here at around 55.7K. And then I'd even go as far as putting a retracement up, right? And depending where the 5th wave is, let's say we do get to 59.5. Well, this line and this 618 are about equal, so I would say anywhere in that zone is where we want to hold. So right up in here, right? The thing I'm looking at is if we break below, like let's say we come up and this gets more complex, we come down, we retest, we come back up, and then it starts to pull back again into this area. I'm going to look at that as a buying opportunity. The reason why is because we have a nice A, B, C structure back into that golden area for a standard retracement, right? And then let's continue that uptrend to the upside. But like I said, if we break below that and then we come back up to retest it as resistance, then we're going to be like, okay, we got to reevaluate this. We're obviously going down, and it's got to be either part of a WXY, which I'll get into in a moment, or of some reason, some narrative to go along with the show. But that's sort of what I'm looking at here, right? It could be the notion that the Fed's going to cut rates, right? Obviously, there's a mixed debate about that when it comes to what happens with crypto. I'm in the camp of let's see what happens. I think the actual cutting cycle is not so good for stocks, but it really hasn't been completely tested yet with crypto. But then again, they're both correlated, so you have to remain on your feet. Remember, we're at an inflection point, not only in the price of crypto, but our country and the whole world, I think, as well. So very interesting times indeed, and that's why I'd feel much more comfortable holding crypto, the right ones, than holding holding something that's part of a system that's degrading. So anyways, if we get rejected here and we start coming back down, right, obviously this could be part of an X wave. So if this is 3 up, that's a W. If this is 3 back down, well, that's an X. And then we're going to have 3 or 5 back up, which will be Y, or it could be an ABC, right? So an ABC is a 335, WXY is a 333, an ABC could also be a 535, right? So just different way of labeling it, but the most important wave is the last one, because that's the one you're targeting for the reversal. So I think if we do come down and we break this low, that will be the main count. Now if we break that low and we continue to go down, right, and then we come back up, we retest this as resistance, and then we start impulsing again, then that's when we're going to look at it like, okay, now we're going into reaccumulation, which is exactly what happened in 2019. You can see right here we had a bull run, a bear market, a retracement. We came down into reaccumulation, we went sideways, and then we expanded. So if that happens again, obviously it's going to be the count that I just mentioned, or the idea rather, continuing to bleed back down to 30 to 45K area and basically go sideways. Reaccumulation. So the longer we hang out up here, the more statistically likely that we're going to continue to go down. That's why we need to break out rather quickly, right? Because we don't want this fourth wave to get so big and so out of proportion with this wave 2. So it is sort of a time sensitive situation. That's why another thing, like I said, we're at an inflection point. It's either going to do that, or it's going to come down and do that, or it's going to come down and go into reaccumulation and then do that. But no matter what, we got upside, just in different time points, right? There's different time that it could do it. So, but whatever one happens is like, okay, what's the strategy then? Dollar cost averaging is buying crypto whenever you possibly can, and just adding and stacking and stacking and stacking, and not giving a flying hoot about whatever what everyone else says. I think, right, it obviously not financial advice, but for me, it all comes down to the system we're in and the new system we're heading into. So if you can conceive that, then it's a no-brainer, especially when you think about what crypto really is, right? It is a form of money, but it's a technology. It's a replacement of the old traditional financial banking system with new decentralized finance, right? Layer 1, layer 2. I mean, there's just so many things. So there's only up from here. It's only time that's the big decider. And that really comes down to, the election and all that stuff as well. And then also the uncertainty in the economy, right? What's the Fed going to do? So there's a lot of what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen? So we're all anticipating. Now, I think we have a good chance at breaking out. I've laid out many of the bullish indicators and bullish ideas over the last, I don't know how long since we've been in this wave here, but I've also laid out the risk and the possibility of a reaccumulation. So we'll see how this unfolds. Let's quickly look at THETA here, and why I'm really excited is not really because of Bitcoin. I'm excited for the altcoins because they look like they're in a prime position for at least a retracement. I mean, think about it. We fell down into this massive base, right? And we started going sideways, creating this Wyckoff accumulation, and then we broke out, and then we came all the way down, and now we're sort of back testing the top of this base. So if we can find support here, which we're currently doing so far, and we continue to do so, and we can build a base on top, right? So essentially we're back testing, we're building layers of support, we're building that strong foundation so that when we can continue higher. And I think that's what's going to happen. Now, does that mean we need another low? Does that mean we have to oscillate a little bit? For example, this could be a W, an X, and we still have to come down for that X and then go up in Y, right? So WXY. Just kind of like how we talked about Bitcoin. Well, if that's the case, then hey, so be it. But I think overall it's developing its bottoming process. Now, that doesn't mean that's what's happening. Again, we can have some sort of major event or whatever, and that just continues to bleed to the downside. Now, if this was under normal times, not during election, not during all this turbulence, then I think it would be much more in a natural state, right? Kind of like the run-up in Bitcoin in 2017. Everything was just moving up in a nice orderly fashion, but fast, right? So let's look at the smaller time frame here, and we're starting to break this trend to the upside. So I'm wondering if this is going to continue higher and then come back down. And this is a 3, 3, and then we come back up in a 3 or a 5, right? So the whole thing is a much larger 3-wave move. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. Now, I could be wrong. We could come back up here a little bit and flag out and start breaking out, which would be a good thing. I would look at this as then a 1, an ABC for a 2, sort of a massive a flat pattern here, and then a continuation up in wave 3. So that's still what I'm thinking. XRP's being a bit lazy at the moment. I was kind of expecting a little bit more considering where the other coins are at. Kind of look at Solana. It's got a little bit nicer of a push to the upside, although it still hasn't broken above that 4th wave. You can see a 1, 2, 3, 4. Really want to see a wave 5. I want to see this trend break. I want to flag out, and then I want to continue higher, right? So far, it's looking pretty decent for Solana. Now, same goes for XRP, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's come up here and get 5. Tomorrow is Thursday. You know how we talk about Thursdays. Thursdays have usually been some of the most volatile days, whether it be up or down. So just, Thursdays are interesting for crypto. I don't know what it is about Thursdays, but that's just how it feels, at least in my experience, for quite some weeks now. So maybe we get a boring Thursday, maybe. But I would like to see an extended 5th wave of this move here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's come all the way up here to 57 cents. That would be a miraculous, amazing move here. And then we can sort of flag out a little bit, create a higher low, right? And then start to hopefully continue to break out from there. That would be nice to see for tomorrow. So are we going to get that tomorrow? There's no way to know, right? There's no way for me to know that. So I think if we can continue this bullish wave to the upside, now I'll have to say one thing here. That's a pretty powerful wave 1. You could see this 3-wave pullback, boom, boom, boom. And now we have a wave 1. Is this a wave 2? Or is this a ABC, a bigger wave 2, and now we're going to get an even bigger wave 3? Because if the size of wave 1 is that big, then just imagine what the size 3 is going to look like. It could be a lot bigger, if that's what it is. If it's not, then this could just be a flat. And where's the flat? It's an expanded flat, a wave 2 to the downside. I don't really like it a lot, but here we go. We have a wave 1, and then you have this A, B, C. That 3-wave move to the upside, right? So we have a 1, and then this whole thing is a 1, and now we're coming back up for 2, right? And this thing's about to continue down in a wave 3. Now it's certainly possible, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Now we are right in the middle of the retracement levels as well. So if I pull the fibs on all of these numbers, we're sitting right between the 702 and the 786. There's a critical level for us to get through. We did, however, get above the 50 and the 618, so that's a solid. That's showing, some strength there. So, but overall, when I zoom out, the bigger move, not really going to talk about it too much because I've been talking about it. But, I'm thinking this is a nice 3-wave shape. I mean, just look at that 3-wave shape. I mean, it's perfect. So, and we have one, we have this 5 waves down, and then we have a 3-wave for B, and then we have this C leg here. So is it possible that C isn't finished? I mean, I guess it is, but then the 4th wave would be too big. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get 5. I mean, it's certainly possible, and it could be even likely, right? I mean, if we get rejected in here and we start moving down, then of course. But as long as we stay bullish up here, then we're looking at upside. So when we look at Filecoin, that's another reason why I think we're going to start heading higher, right? Again, we could be building a base in here, and it could take some time, but ultimately I think we got to go a little bit higher into these retracement levels, and then we reevaluate. Do we continue to rise, right? Or do we have to come down for more reaccumulation? So definitely got an interesting road ahead, but that's where we are, and we'll touch back on it either tomorrow or the next day. I'll definitely check in with you. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.